There's this influencer I like. His name is Sahil Bloom,
I don't think
and
so.
he wrote a book. I think it's called like the Five Types of Wealth or something. It's not a gratuitous plug. I read it. It's really cool. And he thinks about he sort of phrases life a lot in those ways. I think one of the chapters was like, if you're 40 and your parents are 70 and you guys live like a 2-hour drive away from each other, you'll probably see your parents 13 more times before they die.
Mm.
And is that sufficient to you? And how do you feel about how wealthy you are when you consider your life in that way? And it's an interesting way to think about your life and sort of percentages and just kind of raw facts, bro. Like
Mm.
you have a lot of thoughts running into your head, but just look at the numbers a little bit, and you can start quantifying. How many times you're going to have with this person, how many times you're going to get to go and do that, how many trips you're actually going to take. It's crazy.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things that you don't realize when it's the last time that you did it. Like there was a day where you and your friends when you were in elementary school or junior high or high school, you all went out and did something, had a good time, and that was the last time that you and your friends ever did that thing. And you had no clue. And even for things you love doing, you know, um, I might have already gone out and rode BMX bikes for the last time, that might have already taken place. I'm not really sure yet at this point, but there's a lot of things like that where you just don't really understand how finite things are until the end. And yeah, I've heard that thought experiment about your parents a lot, and I always try to think about that with my kid too. It's like, this could be. Well, I'm at the point now where I get to see her every day and hang out with her. Once she's 18, once she's 21, once she's 30, I mean, how often do you see him? My kid is still young enough. It's super cute. She'll tell me, "Hey, even when I'm a grown up, I still want to live with you. I still want to live around the corner from you so we can still see each other all the time," which is like the cutest thing in the world, but also kind of depressing because the reality is that she doesn't know how unlikely us spending huge amounts of time together when she's older actually is.
Yeah, man. You gotta take up that time with your kids. I got kids, and my kids look at me, and I'm like the most important thing in the world to them. And and every day I know that's getting less and less, and they learn more about the world, and the world takes more importance, and my importance is waning. We're all fighting father time, man.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, I forget. Was there anything else that we had scheduled that we were going to discuss here? Because I know you got your own kind of list over there.
Young Thug.
Oh yeah, yeah. How you feeling about all that? They were trying to lock him up. They decided that his statements on social media were not enough to have him sent back to jail.
So I'll give the prosecutors a little bit of credit for what they tried to do, but this was the wrong case, and they made some bad precedent, because what they were really trying to do, the headline that everybody saw is Young Thug posted that an investigator is a liar,
Right.
but that's not what they were after. What they were trying to do is they were trying to criminalize the comments section, and they were trying to hold Thug responsible for what people commented on his post. And you know what? That concept has some legs. That if you caught a gang charge and you're out on probation, maybe you have to be mindful of your comment section. But what happened in this case, wrong case. These people have no credibility. The judge already thinks that they're liars. The judge looked at them and said, "You guys bought a kingpin charge against this guy, and you're letting him walk with time served." I mean, if he got a bond, you would have let him walk with no jail time. It's a kingpin charge for life. What the? So, so this is the wrong case to try to go and criminalize the comment section, because you can see what Judge Whitaker didn't even hold a hearing. She
Mm.
didn't even bring them into court. She issued a one paragraph opinion order saying denied. And so, I mean, she told you what she thinks of it, and that's that case was a real shit show, and bad on the prosecutors, because you don't want to get denied like that. And now, the next time anybody watching this, if your PO or somebody's giving you shit about what somebody said in the comments, bring them back to Fulton County, Georgia. So there's a reported opinion there where the government tried to criminalize comments and say that, hey, what somebody commented under your post is a violation for your probation. And now we have a judge in Fulton County saying that shit, no, get out of here.
Well, it's really interesting because obviously it's not a legal thing, but on Twitch and various other platforms, I've seen it over the years. I think Twitch primarily. I don't think YouTube will actually do this to you, but I think on Twitch, let's say that you run a stream in which, you are relatively measured and you say things that are not so provocative, etc. But let's say that like 90% of the people commenting on your video are spewing hate speech and using the N-word and saying terrible things. Ultimately, Twitch is going to hold you accountable for that, and they expect you to do some amount of maintenance on your community so that it doesn't become a total toxic cesspool. And, if you allow it to become that, let's say Young Thug makes a post, and especially on somewhere like YouTube or Instagram where the comments are algorithmically sorted, and let's say that the top response is something that threatens physical violence on the prosecutor. I mean, it wouldn't be a lot of work for you to go through and remove a comment that has 20,000 likes that is threatening her. And in addition to that, at a certain point, it's almost impossible to imagine that you would be oblivious to this. So I don't think that's the most outlandish development that we could see as time goes by.
Yeah, I thought there was some real appeal to the government's position given some of the stuff in that comment section. And then I saw Judge Whitaker's opinion and I said, wow, y'all really fell flat on your face trying to bring this argument in the context of this case. Maybe if she didn't really hate like how you guys have bought this whole case, this particular move that you guys made would have had some legs. The other thing on that case, we still have Yak Gotti locked up. Like this man
And
caught a not guilty.
yeah, he's being held for what?
He's being held for, I guess, like fights that happened while he was locked up.
Mm.
So they charged him with being some notorious gang member. He got a not guilty, and then he's locked up in this prison with a bunch of other notorious gang members. And now, now he's still locked up because there was a fight in the prison or something like that. Something about his conduct while he was being held in prison, and that is a real shame, man. This guy is still locked up for going on what, 4 years almost?
For something that realistically, it's not like he would have been getting in fistfights on the outside, more likely than not. And you lock, or the system locks him up with all these other people in which there's a culture of fighting each other. Everybody I talk to about what it's like to be in county jail is very, very ordinary to get into fights with, opposing gang members or whatever. And then he's kept in there even though he's been cleared on the charges that had him there in the first place. That seems uniquely evil.
Uniquely evil. There was that video of Lucci, and like Lucci's locked up and he's supposed to be in isolation, but then the guards disappear. It's like a whole 5 minute video, and he gets into a fight with some guy. That guy was never supposed to be out loose in the compound with them. We had the feds come in and investigate the Fulton County Jail for violations, saying, "Oh, we need to take this place over." I think there was a guy who sued down there because he was being eaten alive by ants. I mean, it's one thing to charge people for conduct in jail. It's another thing to be that, to have all that context, all that backstory, have that guy get a not guilty after all those charges and that trial, that circus of a trial, and then not like as a prosecutor finally let up. We have in every one of these situations we have this concept of an adversarial system. One guy fights like hell against another guy who fights like hell, and they're just going to keep fighting like hell, and there will be a judge on top who will deliver justice as long as the two people zealously stand their positions. And that's not what happens in reality. What happens in reality is that if prosecutors fight like hell, you can get really, really shitty situations and outcomes. And so I think there are situations when prosecutors should look at it and say, enough is enough. I mean, certainly in the Yak Gotti situation, I can't believe this man is still locked up.
No, yeah. I mean, listen, if you stab somebody to death or you commit some horrible act behind there, I understand keeping somebody locked up. But I mean, I've read plenty about crazy prison war stories, and I mean, I've heard about a lot worse things that weren't pursued while people were locked up. So yeah, that's terrible. We gotta free his ass. Did we cover everything, or is there anything else on this list?
That's all I got. We could do some type of closing.
For sure. Okay, Mo, appreciate you. Thank you so much for your time. got any last words? Anything you want to shout out?
Stop going left or right. You know, if you voted for Kamala, don't hate the Trump people. If you voted for Trump, don't hate the Kamala people. The people at the top are lying to all of us, and they're going to keep getting away with it and making crazy profits and having 20 vacation homes, and they're going to have 10 yachts. They're going to start colonizing Mars. The only way to stop them is if we stop fighting with each other. If that person wants to be gay, if that person wants to be trans, if this person wants to have guns, don't fight about it. Okay. What you ought to fight about is more money for the people who do the work. That's what we should be fighting about. We should all look around at each other, black, white, Asian, singles, whatever, okay, and realize that we're all in the same struggle against the man, where we work all day to get some money to feed our families, okay? And we need more of that money. That's the common tie that binds us. This left right shit doesn't bind us, it separates us.
No, I agree. Yeah, I've gone out of my way to consume a lot less political content this cycle around because I feel like it's done damage to my mind over the years, just wasting too much time paying attention to it. That being said, I'm glad some people are paying attention to it because it does feel like we're in a sort of very dangerous position right now, depending on how the next couple months or years of our lives go. But yeah, Mo, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. We will have your link in the description so that people can tap in if they're interested in your services or just staying up to date on your social media. But I appreciate you, and thanks a ton.
Okay, so you just saw the clip, but did you know that you can watch this entire interview right now before it's released to the public, uncensored, by becoming a member for just $5 a month, and there's a lot of other crazy benefits as well. So make sure you hit the link down in the description and sign up. Appreciate y'all.